Time that we need to really thank and recognize women for all the contributions they make. And I know I dream of a world where it's not necessary to ever have Women's History Month, and women are always considered for their contributions and their accomplishments. I think what we need to do before, I know a lot of you want to see this show, and I've been the mean person, keeping the curtains closed, keeping you all out, but I bought you all drinks too, so enjoy. And some really great food too. Before we get started though, I do want to thank the American Jazz Museum for partnering with the Women's Center for this important show. And also all of the sponsors that we've had that have donated time, money, in-kind donations, and I do need to recognize them. So Arts KC, Regional Arts Council, Mesh Company, Digital Media Consultants, and Melanie Shaw, the KCMO Neighborhood Tourist Development Fund, the UMKC Department of Art and Art History, the UMKC Women's and Gender Studies Program, UMKC Union Programming Board, UMKC, this is a UMKC show apparently, UMKC Multicultural Student Affairs, UMKC Multicultural Student Organization Council, UMKC Graduate Art History Association, Print Time, Mansfield Ceramics, a store named Stuff in Brookside, In-Home Bistro, who has provided the beautiful and delicious food that you're enjoying tonight, Hammer Press, the Fiddly Fig, and Conceptual Boulevard Beer, and finally NCECA for sponsoring this exhibit. So thank you to all of those sponsors for making this possible. Now I would like to introduce the new Executive Director of the American Jazz Museum, Chepto Kosatani Buckner.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the American Jazz Museum. We are really, really honored to have you here in this wonderful, wonderful evening. This exhibit has been an honor to me because it started going up my first day, right? So I'm thinking, this is exciting. They just put up wonderful exhibits. I don't have to do anything. I love this job. But what you will see, the tremendous work. I want to thank Sunny, our visiting curator, and our crew. They've done a fabulous, fabulous job. Thank you, Sunny. I do want to thank UMKC Women's Center for their partnership. I hope what you see, what is happening today is what I hope you will see moving forward. Is one of our goals, one of our visions, one of our aspirations at the museum is to collaborate with everybody in the city to push the mission of the museum forward, but to also push your mission forward. I think it's also important to realize that one of the most important things that jazz did, and we want to continue to do here, is jazz was an integrator before integration was even legal for black and white. And so our goal moving forward is to integrate all of us through art, through music, through performance, through conversations. So we want to continue this relationship. Should not be the first time that we do this, but it should be a beginning and everything else, and I hope to see you here. And it's one of the things to keep in mind, www.americanjazzmuseum.org. Make sure you go there. There are wonderful things happening at the Jazz Museum, at the Blue Room, at the Gem Theater. This Saturday we have Patty Austin, our Grammy Award winner. Please buy tickets. They are only $45, and I think our visiting staff are here, so before you go, you can buy a ticket, or you can buy online. But welcome back to the Vine. Again, don't stay away, and it's my pleasure to introduce Dr. Brenda Batten. Thank you.
Thank you, Chepto. As she said, my name is Brenda Bethman. I'm the director of the Women's Center and the Women's and Gender Studies program at UMKC, and it is my pleasure to welcome you all here on behalf of the University of Missouri, Kansas City. We have been working in collaboration with the Jazz Museum for several years now, and it's always a pleasure to be here and to work with the Jazz Museum and to see all the people who come out It's also, I know Arzi is going to do a lot of thank yous and talk about her art program and the Women's Center later, so I will not take up too much of your time. But I do have to say that Arzi Umali is the best programmer I have ever worked with in however many years I've been doing this. We don't need to talk about that. I always say in her art events, about 4 or 5 years ago, I sent Arzi an email and said, hey, this movie looks really interesting. Maybe we should watch it. And here we are. Out of that, she created the Her Art Project, puts on these great exhibits. We collaborate all over the city, and it's really wonderful. I also want to thank our fabulous staff who are here, working, checking you in, who help us get the event ready, who are, I always say, the best staff at UMKC, and also our colleagues from the Violence Prevention and Response Office, who are also here donating their time tonight. So thank you for coming, and enjoy the exhibit, and enjoy the food, and that is all I have.
I didn't pay her to say that either. I didn't know she was going to give me all those accolades. Okay, I know we're building the suspense, can you tell? Just a little longer. So for anyone who's ever done event planning, you know that there's a lot of chaos and craziness, and it can be really complex and complicated. But then for those of you who work in the arts, you know that planning an arts event can be like chaos times 10 and craziness times 10. So, you know, when I talked to our curators and said, sure, I'll do this with you, I guess I'm crazy. Because who wants to plan an event with 50 artists and their egos? And I can say that because I'm an artist myself. But we did do it. So what I want to do now is introduce to you the masterminds behind the 50 Women exhibit, who through their vision and their passion and their tenacity drove this crazy train from idea to reality. So I want to bring up now Alex Kraft and Anthony Marino.
But I do want to do one thank you, and I'm sure Alex will agree with me on this, and then I'll bore you later with some theoretical stuff. But the most essential thing to being a curator is gaining artist confidence. And understanding when you put together a show, you are acting as their representation. So if you make an ass out of yourself, you make an ass out of them. So in the act of agreeing to allow Alex and I to represent them in this show, all of the artists extended a great deal of trust and a great deal of confidence in us to represent them well. I hope we have, I think we have, but I'd like to thank every artist who allowed us to represent them and who agreed to be in the show, and please give them all a round of applause now.
Thank you all so much for being here. I do have my notes. I just want to thank you all for supporting this Momentum project, and really, truly, without the support of each and every one of you standing in this room here today, we wouldn't be here, absolutely, positively. I want to go ahead and publicly recognize all of our artists in the audience and ask if you'll just raise your hands. Raise your hand if you're one of our 50 women artists. Amazing. Tony did say I would do a lot of things. Thank yous. The 50 Women Executive Committee is of absolute and paramount importance to this project. There's absolutely no way this would be happening without them. So I want to publicly recognize our amazing team, starting with Arzi Umali, the Wonder Woman, incredible, and our second Wonder Woman, Melanie Shaw. Where are you? Now, there you are. Really, truly, Melanie should be up here with amount of time and effort and coordination that these women have brought to the table. And then finally, I want to make sure to publicly recognize Sunny for putting up this incredible exhibition. So thank you so much, Sunny. Certainly as well, in recognition of Cheptu and of all of the staff of the American Jazz Museum, thank you all so much for doing so. And then I do want to also publicly recognize certainly the supporters of Kansas City, as well as our Indiegogo and Kickstarter supporters. Again, truly without your support, we could not have made this come to fruition. So thank you again to all of you. So there's my thank yous. Now let me tell you just a little bit more about what's on my sheet of paper. So I want to give you just a hopefully brief understanding of the background, history, and concept of 50 Women, and I'm going to explain it a bit for people who know about NCECA, but also people who don't, so bear with me. So the background, history, and show concept. NCECA was founded in 1966 by a group of ceramic artists who wanted to swap pots and ideas, show slides, and look and listen to people with similar interests. So the primary purpose was to guarantee that this annual exhibit would continue to occur. So during the first decade, it was a small gathering of a few hundred artists. In the 1980s, it grew to more than 1,000 members. Today, we have more than 6,000 members, and it's really the largest ceramics event held in the world. So that in itself is pretty darn cool. This is the 50th anniversary of NCECA, which is one more reason that we have 50 women for our exhibition. So it truly is a landmark exhibition. It's the first large-scale exhibition of women's contribution to ceramics. Yeah. So the first panel that was to do with women in clay took place in 1979, and I'd like to just read a quick quote from that conference by Paula Winokur. She stated her concern was not to create a sense of separation or sexism, but to point out the strengths of many women who work in clay and the tremendous contributions they have made to the field as teachers and artists. And I really feel that this quote resonates with us and in our planning and continuation with the idea. I feel that her statement still resonates today. So this exhibition truly showcases women in multiple areas of the field, but really the most highly skilled women ceramic artists producing work, and really it's just a public recognition of people, a cross-section of people in ceramics today. Ceramic arts is blooming, and this project is to document the past, celebrate the present, and look forward to the expanding and continuing future. So a few highlights of the show. The contributions that women have made have been beyond calculation, and really, truly, this is just a cross-section of what's happening here and now in clay today. There's a diverse range of experience, as well as technique, formal and content-oriented concerns in the show. And Tony and I really tried in our curation to think about that cross-section of women working in clay today. So our main parameters were simple, just 3 things. The artist did have to be female, the artist had to make exceptional work, and the artist must be known to us. If we didn't know you, we couldn't invite you. But not, so.
The unknown Potter's screwed.
But having said that, I'm going to take a minute to talk about our social media campaign. So in relation to that, our Facebook page and our social media platform, I actually feel has become a much larger platform and voice for female artists working in clay today. We currently have approximately 7,000 likes from countries all over the world, and you can say, yeah, Facebook, whatever, but it to me is a marker of interest in this show and in the topic at hand. So an unexpected consequence of utilizing social media has been the feedback. We currently have an album of women artists around the world, when we were setting up the exhibition and we put the Facebook page out into the world, we had many artists contacting us saying, oh, we want to be part of this show. And we felt, okay, we need a further platform for these people. So as of now, we have over 400 women who have submitted images to that album, and you can see artists from all over the world. It's really incredible. It really is. And we also have a second album that's for makers and past memoriam, women, basically historical reference of women making art in clay. So the upshot is it's just become this incredible thing unto itself, this entity that will last past the physical exhibition. It's very exciting. So that continues to be proliferated, and if you're an artist in the audience who's interested in submitting work, we are happy to have it, submitting content, etc. But anyway, there's my shtick. Thank you so much for being here. I can't tell you, it's amazing for me to see all of these incredible individuals in the audience. Thank you so much. I'm going to hand the phone well, I can't even talk. Hand it over to Tony. Thank you.
Now, I want to talk about the political import of the show just for a second. Because when Alex and I were coming up with the show idea, I don't know about Alex, but I've gotten too old to be timid. And we knew if we were going to get a venue in Kansas City, we had to have the right idea. And I said to Alex, hey, do you ever remember there being an all-women museum scale show at NCCA? And Alex was like, no, I don't. And I'm like, damn it, there's the idea. Now, the first NCCA was in 1966. I would have been about 8. So I cannot, 8 months, sorry. I cannot attest to how much gender equity had been achieved in 1966, but I've been told by people gender equity was not really a thing in the 60s. So the fact that it's been 49 years to get around to an all-women show, I think tells you there's a need for an all-women show. Do you agree? Second point, and we got some feedback online where someone said, I want to live in a gender and race neutral society. And I said, yes, so do I, Trump. But even if you go with the conservative argument and you buy into a conservative market cause, we can validate our show, irregardless of a social need. Because if you believe the market is pure and will get to a pure gender equity on its own, will achieve its own equilibrium, then any demand out there is a good justification for a show. Since we've started the show, we have had many people volunteer to help us who don't know us and have no reason to care what happens with us. RZ is a prime example, Melanie is a prime example, Sony is a prime example, all came into the cause. In addition, we have 7,000 likes on Facebook from across the world. More people in Tehran, Iran have liked our Facebook page than in like Chicago, Illinois. So our presence is truly international. Because of that, I can argue back, even if there's not a need, there is a demand. And if your market's so damn perfect that demand's all that matters, demand is the validation for this show. Because just about everybody we've said to it, we've talked to about the show has had 2 reactions. 1, that's great. 2, why the hell did it take 50 years to achieve? Now, the second import has to do with the local venue. We think it's really important, and we're really glad the artists are here, because I think growing up, people assume that there are sort of two species of human beings. There's sort of your normal workaday, everyday people who, you know, have to drudge and suffer under the corporate yoke to make a living. And then there are these gifted, talented celebrity artists who are just adored by everybody, and they have their success handed to them because of a divine gift. All you have to do is walk into any one of these artist studios and you realize that's a load of bullcrap. Every one of these artists works their ass off, and that's why they're good. But importantly, we want the arts here because the first step to achieving great things is imagining you can achieve great things. One of the first steps to imagining you can achieve great things is seeing someone who has achieved great things, who you can identify with. So it's our hope that if there's a 100-year, 100 Women show in 2066, 10 of the artists for that show will come from this show, because they walked in here and they said, wow, look what Bean Finneran did. If she can do it, I can do it. That Tip Toland is impressive. If she can do it, I can do it. Heather Mae Erickson's piece really is wonderful. If she can do it, I can do it. This show is it's for the NCECA community, but we also want to reach out to the local community, and we want people here to have work that's inspiring and lifts them up and realizes if they can do it, you can do it. And again, I just want to say thank you to everyone again. Thank you for coming, and have a great NCECA conference. We'll be opening up fairly soon, I assume. And thank you very much. I'm done.
I know you all are ready to see some art, aren't you? Okay, so I was going to say a whole bunch of stuff about the Her Art Project, and it's like 3 pages long. But actually, Anthony and Alex have said it all. We really do need to support women artists and women in all of their achievements. I know we're getting sick of thank yous, but there are some people that we haven't thanked yet, and that is the crew that has been here 24 hours a day, basically, installing this show with Sunny. And I need to say thank you to Rachel Marshall, Michelle Beasley, Jason Piggy, and Daniel Edwards. And I know they're back there behind that curtain ready to open it. So thank you to everybody. Okay, so one more thing. If you all are all gung-ho now, let's support women. Come back on Thursday evening here. We're doing an artist salon. We're going to be talking about women artists and the state of women in the arts, and we're going to solve all the problems. So 4:30 here.
And one more thing. If you really want to support women art, buy women art.
Okay, so without any further ado, please, I want to introduce the exhibit, 50 Women, a celebration of women's contribution to ceramics.